Changes in the frequency and severity of droughts and floods brought on by climate volatility are real threats to farmers, ranchers, and the world, as they could make it more difficult to grow crops and raise animals in the same ways and same places as they've been done in the past. To help the agricultural industry meet the ever-changing concerns of its stakeholders, Nationwide and The Ohio State University have collaborated to form the AgTech Innovation Hub. To tell us more about it, Dean Kathann Kress from Ohio State's College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences, and Devin Furman is Nationwide's Chief Agriculture and Sponsor Relations Officer. Welcome to you both to the podcast. Appreciate you having you guys on today.
Thanks, Ty. We're really happy to be here to talk a little bit more about our partnership.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ty. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and get to have this opportunity with Kathann as well.
So, Dean Kress, I'll start with you. What is the AgTech Innovation Hub, and how did the idea come to be?
Well, the AgTech Innovation Hub is really an idea of how can we leverage the assets of both Nationwide and OSU to come together to address the very topics that you were just talking about. The more conversations that we had, because we have a lot of them in our partnership with Nationwide, and I know Devin can chime in on some of that, we just were more and more concerned that it isn't just about policy or production, but it's also about protection, and that there are increasing vulnerabilities that farmers face. And what could we be doing about that to ensure that they could stay viable, they could stay profitable, and they could stay in farming?
Yeah, Devin, that risk management and that mitigation, definitely a reason for Nationwide to get involved in such a project.
Absolutely. And it actually is kind of a fun origin story to tell, where it was at the Cultivating Cure event at Mr. Brent Porteous's place a couple years ago, where Dean Kress and some of our board members and our executives were getting together and talking about, well, how do we continue this long-standing and great relationship between Ohio Farm Bureau, Nationwide, and the college to tackle some of these things. As you mentioned in your intro, climate, is changing. We're experiencing more weather in agriculture and within our own P&C industry, the property and casualty industry right now, than ever before. So how do we actually take, our shared community and work together with them with research and extension and the information we have from a property and casualty standpoint and all the work that the Farm Bureau does to support the community, how we bring that together? And the idea kind of came from that conversation that Dean Kress had with our executives at Cultivating Cure a couple of years ago. And now we have the AgTech Innovation Hub. So kind of a neat origin story behind it as well.
We'll get into more of the details in a bit, but this certainly isn't the first time your two organizations have partnered. Can you tell us more about the relationship between the College of Food, Ag, and Environmental Sciences and Nationwide?
Devin, you want to kick that one off?
Yeah, I can. And, it's interesting. It goes well beyond my time and even Dean Kress's time. It goes back 50 years where our organizations have been working together, the three-legged stool of Ohio Farm Bureau, Nationwide, and the college. And specifically, the things that we've been doing together have been for the betterment of our shared community, and based on the shared values of how do we actually help farmers, agriculturalists, rural communities thrive. And a lot of what we do now is based on those same reasons. And I think that's what has made us so successful in partnering on these opportunities that we have. And I don't see any end to that, because there's opportunities and challenges ahead of us that we need to continue to focus on. And so while we've been at it for about 50 years or more, I think we've got another 50 years ahead of us that's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, and I think, if you even think about how Nationwide came to be, right, we just placed not long ago that historical marker for Farm Bureau's centennial on our campus, because we know that the first Farm Bureau meetings were held here, that obvious connection there, and then Nationwide emerging out of Farm Bureau at a time when our farmers really couldn't find great solutions to manage their risk. And so we created it. We created Nationwide, essentially. And so to me, it's kind of in that same spirit, right? That we're still coming together and thinking about how can we create the best solutions for farmers in Ohio and our region. And we're just delighted to be able to do so.
Dean Kress, what does the science tell us about the future of food production, and how will the AgTech Innovation Hub help in taking on those challenges that might lie ahead?
Well, obviously, Ty, you're asking someone who dwells in the future. If you work in research and education and with students, you're pretty much hanging out in the future all the time. But I'm going to slightly correct you there. As a professor, I get to do that. It's not just about food production, right? If you ask me, it's about our food system and food production, maintaining safety of our food system, as well as the nutritional quality. But it's also about profitability and economics. It's about policy. It's about national security. There isn't an area that food and agriculture don't touch and have a significant impact on. And so being able to think about how we ensure that our food system stays strong, that our farmers can continue to be profitable and productive and sustain their natural resources and the environment as they're doing this on behalf of all of the rest of us. It's critical, and it's critical whether you are a farmer or whether you are one of the people who benefits from our farmers, which is everyone. And so I can't think of anything that's more exciting as we think about what is ahead. There are many challenges ahead. I was just at a national conference where we were talking about ag policy through the lens of national security, with what we know is happening currently in the Ukraine, what we know is happening in China, and what do we anticipate those impacts will be on us. A lot of times when people think about farming, they might immediately just think about the vegetables they eat or what they see in the grocery store, without thinking about all the ways that agriculture impacts every bit of our economy and national security. Those are risks and challenges for us to manage as well. And I think a partnership like this really positions us well to think very broadly about all the ways we have to be thoughtful about the future, and how do we conserve energy? How do we ensure that our land is going to stay fertile? How do we make sure that as those frost dates change, that we're ready to be able to manage all of that?
Devin, how do these challenges possibly change the way that Nationwide works with agriculturalists in Ohio and across the country?
Well, I think Dean Kress did a great job of really articulating that, yes, we're talking about the food system, but how many different components of the industry are touched by the outcomes of our food production. And, obviously from a property and casualty insurance perspective, we're thinking about how do we protect our members, our customers in the very best way as it relates to the liability that they have on their farm or the structures that they need to be successful. And it really comes down to helping farmers and agriculture and those rural communities remain resilient in these times of change that are coming through related to climate impacts. And, some of the simple solutions might be, and I say simple in a way because the outcome might be simple, but how we get there might be complicated, is how do we build better buildings for animals and protect them better? How do we actually help a farmer sustain a wind event or a tornado that's coming through, or hail events that actually do a tremendous amount of damage, might put their operation on hold, which then impacts their ability to produce their product and maintain their own economic viability. Those are big challenges that are related to climate events, which we are seeing a lot more of across the insurance industry. It's not just Nationwide, but all across the country. There's probably not a day goes by where there's not some news about a weather event that's sometimes decimating a community. And a lot of those communities are producing food. And so, as Dean Kress mentioned, yeah, we're talking about the food system, but all the components that touch the food system that are related to how do you build a better building? How do you place it differently on a farm to mitigate the wind that's flowing through a valley, whatever it might be? But those are solutions that need the research. They need somebody to take a deep look into them and then come out with outcomes that are practical. And then through whether it's extension or even through the education of our agents and our own associates, that we produce a better outcome and protect our customers for the long term.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Here in our state, there's an energy at work, a drive to help people live healthier lives with confidence. But it can't be done alone. That's why our healthcare, business, and community leaders have joined together to help people here feel more empowered by their healthcare, leading to improved long-term health and savings. A health plan for small businesses in the agricultural industry was created by the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation. It provides members the tools, resources, and financial protection to feel confident in their healthcare decisions. By sharing responsibilities, we help build healthier employees and communities, driving down costs, connecting members digitally to Anthem's diverse network of local resources, participating in health literacy, easing administrative burdens. Joining the plan means you're part of making healthcare work better, giving people the confidence to make anything possible. To learn more about how the plan can work for your business, visit our website or call your broker or Anthem sales representative.
To get things kicked off, 5 innovation research projects have been awarded funding from this new AgTech Innovation Hub. What was the process? I know you're both were part of the process of choosing these projects, and what were the considerations made to give them the thumbs up?
Well, Ty, it was actually really exciting and kind of fun because, what was decided by the committee originally was that we didn't want it to just be like a lot of academic proposals where, they send in the proposal and we all read it and rate them and things like that. So it was kind of a hybrid of that and Shark Tank, to be honest with you. And I wasn't really sure how faculty might respond to a kind of a Shark Tank environment, but I'm really pleased to say that they got very enthusiastic about getting the opportunity to come and talk about what it is they do. And so it was a great group that had representatives from Nationwide, from our college, from Farm Bureau, and really having a chance to bring the faculty members in, and they had to be on top of their game and help us to understand not just what they planned to do, but what was going to be the impact of what they were planning to do.
Yeah, Ty, and I learned a lot through that process. It was fun. I learned a lot. It was a great collaboration across Farm Bureau, Nationwide, and the college. Again, whenever you bring those 3 things together, there's always good outcomes. But in this case, like Kathy Ann said, I'm not sure we knew what to expect, but the outcomes were really great. And as we look at the type of research that they're doing, it's going to be fundamental, I think, to how we protect the economy of farming and how do we actually set farmers up to be more successful and more efficient, and so that they have that viability and sustainability factor as it relates to the changing climate that they're dealing with every single day and some of the environmental pieces to it. And then how do we actually use technology to help shape decisions? All of it's in there. And I think we're really setting a great baseline, if you will, for even more projects to come through the hub that are going to be, have the outcomes that we're looking for that might be more tangential to like the products and the construction of things and protecting property and liability. But you had to kind of start with something that would build a good foundation to the research and the process of turning that research into practical application. So all of it's in there, and we're really excited about, just this initial 5 projects, but it kind of set the tone for, or I should say the expectation that there'll be big shoes to fill for the next proposals that come through within the hub.
Well, and there's also expectations for these projects, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got them started and they're rolling. But they all know that in order for them to continue and to sustain, they've got to take these early wins that they're having with this funding and go after some of those really big grants that they can get from like NSF, the National Science Foundation, or USDA, or other sources. And that's part of it too, is that it gives these faculty members that proof of concept so that they can be successful in going after even larger grants that will help them to continue to do this kind of work.
In a Shark Tank setting, I can see Devin playing Mr. Wonderful quite nicely, for sure. Final question for you guys. What are next steps? We talked about those 5 innovation research projects being approved. What's next for the Ag Innovation Hub moving forward?
Well, there's a whole lot of things because, like so many good things about a long-term partnership and collaboration, it's kind of like a big snowball. It starts rolling and then it just keeps gathering more as it goes. We think directly because of this, there's a lot of other external stakeholders who are interested in thinking about what could that look like for us to partner, and for areas of research that we're interested in, how can we help to promote some of that? And so I think there's some potential there. I think that you're going to see us continuing to partner. And really now, as you get going, at first, you're not really sure how this is going to play out. Now we're all getting a little clearer on, hey, we could really drive it in these directions. We're getting more feedback in terms of what we think could be helpful to farmers in Ohio. So I think you're going to continue to see us shaping that. At the same time, we're continuing to build out other areas and recruiting new faculty. We have, a whole bunch of new faculty joining us. They're going to have a lot of new ideas. We got that controlled environment ag research complex done at Waterman. There's lots of things we can do there that are in this wheelhouse. We just got the funding, and we're so grateful, from the State House for our multi-species animal learning center. That offers all kinds of possibilities for how technology, AI, and everything else can be used in those settings. So we just keep pushing forward on the possibilities, and I think we'll be able to continue to grow into this innovation space.
Yeah, I don't think I could add much to that, Kathleen. I think you nailed it on really what we're expecting. And I might only add one small component, because I'm a farm kid from Iowa, so I always think about the practical application. And I think innovation isn't always about a technology or a tool or something like that. Sometimes it's about process, and how do we actually get the information into the hands of the producer so that they can see the impact on their farms and help build their own stories of innovation and sustainability. And bringing all that together is one of those outcomes, I think, that we're going to see kind of next with the hub, which is only going to fuel more ideas. And Dean Kress talks about the potential that she sees within the college and the outcomes, what they're doing. This is just another component of adding potential into that whole area of innovation and building something that's for our community that we mutually serve. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Finding tomorrow's solutions today with the AgTech Innovation Hub. We can find out more about it with a link right here on the podcast. It'll take you directly to a page where you can learn all about it. Dean Kathann Kress from Ohio State's College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences, and Devin Furman, Nationwide's Chief Agriculture and Sponsor Relations Officer, joining us this week on the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you, Ty.